Yes, guys. Hello and welcome back to the Spurs-related podcast and YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing very well. It feels like it's been a while, and I can actually say that because we haven't uploaded a video for about 6 weeks or so. But, guys, we're absolutely buzzing. Tottenham are back. The England misery is over. I mean, very underachieved tournament, but, you know, maybe we'll cover that a little bit. But I'm sure most of you guys are absolutely buzzing for Tottenham to be back. We've obviously got the friendly against Nice, and then straight into the games. Boxing Day, Brentford away, huge game, and then huge news to bring you guys. But today, the video is going to be about Antonio Conte. There's a lot of talk about his contract, and of course, I am joined by my two co-hosts, Andre from Canada and Jack from England. Don't know why I said where they're from. Thought I'd mix it up. But how you boys doing? It's been a while. Andre, we'll start with you. How you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm doing great. What a competition, the World Cup, of course. But Tottenham's back, and I'm excited to see what happens next in this season.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly that. I mean, some players have had a rest. Some players maybe the exact opposite and are absolutely burnt out. I can think of a few players that went all the way. Christian Romero, obviously a World Cup winner. We can talk about that potentially at some point or in another video. But Jack as well, mate, how are you doing?
James, buzzing to be back. It feels like it's been way too long, but you know what? We're back talking about Spurs after enjoying, I think it was a fantastic World Cup. Before, everyone was talking about the politics and obviously the stuff that was going wrong in Qatar. But from a footballing perspective, honestly, it was one of the best tournaments I've watched. Only 18 years of age, and I thoroughly enjoyed every minute.
Exactly, mate. Yeah, probably the in terms of the football, the best World Cup in my lifetime and probably your lifetime as well, Jack. So for
100%.
sure, a very good one. Obviously, a bitter kind of ending for England. Should we have beaten France? Should Kane have scored the second penalty? So many question marks over that. I mean, I don't agree with the hate on Kane, but also like, you know, what was the other players doing in that second half? You know, no goal scoring threat really. You know, the likes of Bukayo Saka went quiet, but he seemed to get away with that. But let's not point names. You know, England as a collective.
I thought Saka was brilliant, but anyway, we're not talking about.
No, in the tournament he was brilliant. In that France game, he went a bit quiet, didn't he? So,
you think so? Anyway,
absolutely. I've erased it from my memory already, and I'm already hating Arsenal again. But listen, guys, let's start off with the talking points. As the title of the video is saying, is Conte the right man for Tottenham? Is he going to extend his contract? I'm going to swing it over to Andre, the newsman, because there has been a bit of news about the contract and Conte. Obviously, his contract does run out this summer, and he has been offered a contract extension according to Matt Law. Is that right, Andre?
Yes, that is correct. They are heavily underway with trying to get a new contract for Conte when it comes to money, expectations, signings. Those seem like the big factors that we need to cover here, because all three will determine whether he puts pen to paper. But the biggest one, of course, let's start off the fact that they are wanting to offer him an extra $1 million in his contract, which would bring him up to, I believe, £16 million a year. But do you guys think that does that even really matter?
I mean, my understanding of that is if it's $1 million more than the current 15 million for someone that has a lot of money already and is a multi-millionaire, is that going to make him want to stay, or is he more interested in what's happening on the pitch, what's happening in behind the scenes? Is he going to get the backing? Is he going to get the investment? Is he going to get the ability to even be able to sign players? Don't forget, we don't know where we're going to finish. Are we going to finish top four? Are we going to finish outside the top four? That's a big attraction to pulling players in. So I think over the money, it's more to do with the logistics of the club and the financial situation. What do you think, Jack?
I think for me, it's all about what's happening on the pitch. Is Conte going to get the investment that he deserves to carry Spurs forward and compete with the likes of Man City and Arsenal? I think the extra $1 million a year is just a bonus for how well he's done performing with a squad that is really overachieving. You look at the defenders we have, and the right wing back, sadly, is a position we need to improve on compared to even the likes of Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Man City. They've all got stronger players in those positions. And yeah, he needs the investment so we don't fall further behind. I think it's just an added bonus for the good job he's done.
Exactly. Nope, I agree. I agree. I think at the end of the day, you know, you got people like Pep Guardiola making like, I believe, 20 million pounds a year, according to the Guardian. And, you know, so he'd be getting close to it. But at the end of the day, you are right. I really do think money is a side issue, and it's more so to do with the players. The biggest talking point to me, honestly, is the fact that the January window is right around the corner. And there are, you know, I'm seeing on Twitter signings everywhere, and Tottenham has not made one yet. That, you know,
I mean, I'm not too worried about the signings yet. Like, technically, the window isn't officially open till January the 1st, right? So, I mean, I'm not too worried about that. I would expect us to have been linked with a few players. Potentially, that happened a little bit before January last year. And of course, don't forget, January was an incredible window for us last year. We signed Kulusevski and we signed Bentancur, two very, very key players. We got rid of 4 players, I think it was, or maybe even 5 in the end. A few of them on loan, and then I think Dele Alli went as well. Can't believe it's been a year already. So you've got to remember, like, I am still confident we will have a good January. It's just, I think, give it time, give it another 2-3 weeks, see where we're at. But let's talk about the signings a little bit more. What players do you think we will sign in January? Obviously, linking it to the World Cup, we were linking with Gvardiol this time last year. Wow, we should have signed him. He was incredible for Croatia. Probably their player of the tournament, along with Luka Modric for me. Yeah. He looks an unbelievable player. That diving header in the round of in the 3rd place playoff game was an incredible goal. And defensively, keeping out Belgium, he was man of the match for me in that game. So, I mean, guys, other than Gvardiol, who's probably going to be looking at other clubs now, like Real Madrid, PSG, who else could be in the mix? I don't even know. I think Liverpool.
Everyone. I think, to add to that point, he was sensational. What a defender. It proves that Spurs' scouting team clearly and Paratici do a fantastic job. Look at the players Paratici has identified. Amrabat, in my opinion, definitely one of the players of the tournament. Gvardiol, Bastoni, like the amount of players we've seen and been linked with, it always happens, and we just haven't pulled that trigger. And look how well they're performing now.
And Jack, sorry to interrupt, with Amrabat, I mean, we were linked with him. I think it was 16 million we could have got him for in the summer. How much is he going to be worth now, according to Fiorentina? I think that price tag goes up as well. So
he was quickly to add to that. James, honestly, Amrabat, people were slating that signing, saying there is no way we should be signing him. Look at the desire. There's no ambition from Tottenham. But he honestly was superb. That run he did in the semi-final to catch up with Mbappe and the energy he brings, the leadership, just everything about him, I was like, wow, we really should have signed that guy. But we are still linked with him by a couple of sources, so I definitely wouldn't be against the idea of signing him. But does he start over Bentancur? Because how amazing has he been for Spurs?
Yeah, and that was the thing. The January window was a huge sort of overhaul of just trying to get rid of players and then bring in a couple of players. And at the end of the day, we signed 2 in January, and both have been crucial to Tottenham. I think the Sofyan Amrabat thing, he had a great World Cup. And I think that if he doesn't leave in January, his price tag will either drop or go up depending on how he plays with Fiorentina. It really is one of those things. It just, consistency is key, right? So let's see how he does till the end of the season before we really start saying, oh my God, we missed out. How did we not get him?
So sorry, let me ask you a question, because I know our followers are very interested in the signings, and it caused a lot of debate on this channel last year, at the start of last year, well, this year, sorry. I would say at the start of the year, if we were saying Gvardiol or Bastoni, I was all over Bastoni, but now I've moved more towards Gvardiol. Now I've seen him in action in the international stage and absolutely smashed it. Also, Bastoni's gone a little bit off the boil at Inter Milan. So turning that question around on you guys, who would you rather see as a centre-back? Bear in mind, it's a very key position, as well as right wing-back, like Jack identified.
The most key position as centre-back. For me, even more than right wing-back, I think a centre-back is needed.
So in response to my question there, would you rather Bastoni, Gvardiol, or someone else now you've seen them?
I would take either. Whichever one wants to come to Spurs, that'd be a dream.
No, you can't sit on the fence on this one, Jack. There's no sitting on the fence. 10 minutes in, you're already sitting on the fence, Jack.
I love them both. I would have, if Gavardiol wanted to come to Spurs after that fantastic World Cup, and I think he's 20 years of age and he was one of the best players of the tournament. Obviously, we all saw he got spun by Messi, but who isn't going to get spun by Lionel Messi? What a player. Best player of all time. Besides the point, Gavardiol, please come to Tottenham Hotspur. I'll drive you on your way from the airport, even though I can't drive. So please come.
I would choose, you know what? I would go with Bastoni still. I think that Conte knows how to use him. He rates him. And I think that a lot has to do with the coach at the end of the day, right? Like Samyam Amrabat has really been noticed in this World Cup more so than Fiorentina, but clearly they saw something in Amrabat that a lot of us didn't see. So now it really is up to that player, for example, to show that World Cup performance in Fiorentina. Will that happen? Only time will tell. Same thing here. Gavardiol's price tag has doubled probably. I think it'd be smarter to get Bastoni. I think it'd be much smarter in terms of on a financial aspect, and in terms of the fact that Conte really rates him. He's had him in the team before, right? That's why I would go for him over Gavardiol.
I love him, Gavardiol. He was honestly.
At the end of the day, though, either one. But if I have to pick one, I've made my decision there.
Cool. So there's reports about apparently we want one defensive player and one attacking player this January.
Yep.
Andre, do you want to take that one a little bit further, like to update the followers?
Yeah, so there hasn't been any specifics exactly on which type of defensive player, but I assume it's somewhere on that wingback section or as a center back. I've personally, to this day, think since we were not able to get Bastoni in the previous window, I have been very much saying that come this summer, he will make a move to Tottenham. And I still think that that's what's going to happen. So I think that we might address the wingback situation more so than the center back situation, because we kind of technically put a band-aid on it by loaning one of the what's his name again? Lenglet. Thank you. That's like a little band-aid we've put on there for now, because instead of spending all this money on a defensive player that Conte doesn't really rate, he would rather just wait for Bastoni to feel ready to come to the Premier League. So I think that's what's going to happen. So I think wingbacks are going to be addressed.
Are you not a fan of Lenglet, Andre? Then
not so much. Even when he was at Barcelona, I was not the biggest fan of him, to be honest.
I've been moderately impressed by Clement Lenglet. I think him on the ball is definitely one of our most composed defenders, and I think for the first 6 months he's had with the adaptation period, he's definitely not been half bad. So for me, especially he can play centrally, he can play on the left, and considering Dyer, the amount of games he's had to play, Ben Davies, right centre back, we've had problems here when Romero's been constantly injured. I think he's done quite a good job, and yes, we can always improve on it, but I wouldn't be the first person to say Lenglet's had a bad season.
Oh, I'm not saying he's had a bad season, but I'm also saying that telling me that he's been one of our best defenders isn't saying much, because besides Romero, our defenders are not very good. No offense to these guys, because Dyer has improved, Davies has improved, but in terms of trying to be, going next level, like taking the next step, we need better defenders. So to me, that's kind of where I think we're headed. I think Lenglet is just a band-aid. That's why it's just a loan anyways. Attacking players wise, I'm not sure. I have not heard anything in terms of what we are looking for. I don't know if he wants an attacking midfield, which I think we really do need more than anything, because as soon as Bentancur is not playing, our creativeness is kind of really left off to Kulusevski to do things.
Yeah.
So we do need more creation. So I think that might be something they'll want to address in January. But at the end of the day, we'll see. That's why our sporting director, Fabio Paratici, is at work trying to find the best player that would also not cost us a tooth in the nail. I feel like going just for these players that are super popular at the moment and they're going to go for like double the price is not always the smartest idea.
So, Andre, if you had two players that you had to pick, two priority positions, and two players, you can give me names as well. Who are you choosing? Same as you, James. I think it's important to give out some names as well, as because we're looking like we probably will only sign two players. Levy has said he doesn't want to spend too much money, doesn't want to panic buy. So, if you had two players, two priority positions, what are they?
I think we need to address the wing backs. and we need an attacking midfield. I think Conte is gonna probably want to get one of the two of those, you know, like one of each, just to really address more options.
You've only got two, so who are you choosing? You've got two priority positions, two players.
Yeah, players wise, I have no idea. I'm gonna say that right now. I'm not sure. I've been so wrapped up in the World Cup right now that I have no idea which player exactly Conte would want in terms of a wing back. I think I heard something about Pedro Porro at one point, but I think that they're worried that he might not be able to meet the expectations of the wing backs for a Conte system. But I do think that those positions are very important for Conte, and I think that that is something that they're going to want to address before he puts pen to paper.
Or James,
for me, I think it's quite easy. I think it is quite easy. Right wing back and centre back. Because I get the attacking midfielder situation, but the other thing you've got to remember is defensively is where we're really struggling right now.
Yeah, that's true. But at the end of the day, don't forget, I really do think that we are holding out on making a big money center back purchase until the summer, unless something opens up this January. But other than that, I really do think that we are not going to just spend some money on a center back. We're waiting. They're waiting for a big money center back spending. So
sorry, James. I think the key there is opportunity. I think if the player comes and is available in January, there is no reason why we should not be buying them. We've seen Chelsea have already bought Nkunku to arrive in the summer. That's a statement signing. If Spurs can do the same and buy the player ready for the summer, like a Hojbjerg, like a Bastoni, and he's not ready to join straight away, that's fine with me. But we need to show we're willing to spend the money to get big statement players.
What about?
Well, I think loaning Longley, a straight loan, is a sign in itself. It's a band-aid for now.
What about guys? What about right wing backs? Andre mentioned Pedro Porro. I agree with that one. That's a good signing. Denzel Dumfries. Wow, his price tag goes up in that World Cup too, right?
I'm not fully convinced as well, to be fair. I like him, but I generally am not fully convinced, to be honest.
I would take Dumfries 100%. And then you've got also Montiel for Argentina, Sevilla right wing back, decent.
I'll tell you who I liked. A guy called Juranovic from plays for Celtic and
Croatian.
I thought he was very defensively solid. Maybe prefers a 4-back, but I'm sure Conte can and his team can mould him into a very capable.
No, he's not. Is he Croatian or is he might be Australian?
No, he's Croatian, 100%.
Why did I think Croatia? Who was the right wing back for Croatia? Oh no, he played well against Australia. Don't worry, I'm getting confused. He played really well against Australia, didn't he?
Australia? Did he play Australia? No, he didn't play Australia. But
who am I thinking? Who am I thinking?
Played against. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but anyway.
Bit of a big moment there on the video, there, guys. Let's move on. So, guys, season expectations for Tottenham now. Obviously, currently doing all right in the league, top 4. But do you think we're going to get top 4 this season from what you've seen, Andre?
We need to. I think we will, but I really think that it's also a necessity for Conte to sign something.
But why? Why are we going to get top 4, Andre? Tell me why.
Why? Because I think that we actually do have the players to make top 4. We've been pretty consistent, bar a couple of ties that should have been wins. But the fact that we're not doing the previous season's win loss situation that we had, that makes me happy. But I do think we obviously do need more consistency, and that's what the January window will address, I'm hoping. But I do think at the end of the day, we need to make sure that they need to make sure that they're not spending money on players that they're so about. Like, if you got to wait out a little bit, fine. In terms of top 4, that is they need to make top 4. Conte, I don't think, will sign a new contract if we don't make top 4.
Yeah, totally agree. I think for me, I think it's a huge January. And we always say this, every transfer window is huge. But the truth is, Harry Kane is getting older. He's just missed a crucial penalty in the World Cup, which was another big chance for him to get silverware. He's not going to want to stay around if Tottenham don't show ambition and he sees we don't have the players. I personally believe Tottenham are 2 or 3 good very good players from competing with Man City and Arsenal, because I think the quality in our front three is probably the best in the league, genuinely, alongside Man City. I think we've got a fantastic midfield with Bentancur and Hojbjerg. We've even got a fantastic World Cup winner at the back with Romero, Lloris making the final. We've got a fantastic spine. But the quality of Emerson Royale, even the left wing back side currently, Perisic is good creative. He's creative, but he's not doing the defensive job. I just feel like bringing in two players of the quality of Kulusevski and Bentancur could transform this Tottenham team and really push on. But if that doesn't happen, I think the players like Dyer, Emerson Royale, they're just, we're going to fall behind, and we need them now. I think it's now or never, really.
So minimum expectations for this season for me personally would be top 4. And realistically, are we going to win a trophy? We're out of the Carabao Cup, which I would say was the one we had the most chance of. Nottingham Forest knocked us out. Jesse Lingard, of all people, I mean, doing a stupid dance just before the break. But who thinks that that's enough, top 4? I think it's enough to keep Conte if he's willing to stay. But I'm not sure. Are the fans going to be content another season without a trophy? Realistically, are we going to win the Champions League? Okay, miracles do happen, right? But are we going to win the league? Absolutely not. So the only other one is the FA Cup. I mean, can we go on an FA Cup run?
I think we should be aiming to. I really do.
I think we can do. I think we can compete in all competitions. When I mean we're 2 serious players away, I think that means 2 players from not being too far behind Man City. I don't think it means the quality of our squad is that much worse. Look, we've got AC Milan, relatively favourable draw. We could easily beat them. They've got some fantastic players: Theo Hernandez, Rafael Leao. But Spurs' squad is easily good enough to beat that, especially if you add another 2 players. I think we could compete on all fronts just with a couple players. I'm not saying we're going to win anything, but if we show the ambition that we're not that far behind and we keep on improving year on, year out, I think that's enough to keep Conte and Kane. And that should be the ambition. It's about building to something that is special. And I really believe we can do that.
So, Jack, you said about improving year on, year out, and it was a very good way of me merging this into the last little talking point I want to do on this video, which is to do with, there was links about Pochettino coming back to Spurs, whether true or not, if Conte does go. And we did a little bit of homework, didn't we, lads, about the win percentage. Pochettino's is 54.8% win ratio out of 290 games for Tottenham. And Conte's in 55 games is 56.4%, so a marginal ball 1.6% better from Antonio Conte. You say about going forward, Jack, if Conte didn't stay this summer, I'll go with Jack first, do you and would you want Pochettino back at Tottenham?
I would definitely not want Conte to leave. I generally believe he's the best chance for us to build something special and bring in the players. But if Conte had left tomorrow, would I bring Pochettino back? I think I would, but I'd also have to look at other options such as Luis Enrique, who I think's got a fantastic system in Spain. Without high key profile players on the ball, they were fantastic. But would I take Pochettino back for the love factor, for him, just how much he's adored by the fan base and the football he plays? I would, but I wouldn't be 100% fully convinced he'd be the right man for us to take that extra step.
Okay, and Andre?
I think that if Conte were to leave, our priority would be to find someone who can work with the players we have, because I've said for time that Spurs, when they pick a coach, need to go all in, meaning that if they have a specific way of playing, you get them the players that works for that system. Don't try to make them mold the players that the previous coach had to make them fit their system. And I feel like that's what Spurs have been doing over these past few windows, is buying players that work for a Conte system. Conte leaving and Pochettino coming in might be pretty messy, because these players not all of them fit the way that Pochettino plays. And a lot of the players that Pochettino had are gone. So things to think about on my end. It's more than just bringing in a coach. It's a style of play.
No, it's a complicated one for sure. And I think, like you said, Andre, it depends on the players. It depends if Pochettino thinks he can inherit this team. Has it improved much since he left? I would personally argue either way. Certain ones have got better, but like you think we used to have Toby and Jan under Pochettino, a much more solid centre-back partnership. You know, Rose and Walker. So is Pochettino going to want to try and you know, he's an absolute club legend. Is he going to want to come back and potentially tarnish that if he's not happy with the squad? I think you're right. But guys, that is all we have time for today. I hope you did enjoy this offline video. Before you do click off the video, other than giving us a smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you're new, please do let us know in the comments any of the talking points that you disagree or agree with. So maybe let us know if you want Conte to stay, or do you think it's time to change managers? Potentially there might be some people out there that aren't backing Conte. I know that for a fact. So maybe, and also tell us who you want in the January window. That would be another good one to talk about. Let us know if you're excited for the season. And like I said, smash the thumbs up. Jack, Andre, you've both been brilliant. Hope you guys have enjoyed both being back, right?
Hell yeah.
100%. Always good to be.
More videos coming up. Even tomorrow we'll have a video. We're back on it, guys. Enjoy. And yeah, come on, you Spurs.
Spurs.